Andrew,
Hi,
hello.
how are you?
I'm doing so well. How are you?
So good. Thanks for having me today.
Glad you could be here. Glad you could be here. Hello to everyone who is tuning in. I'm Anna Lee from Broadway in Chicago. Today, I have the great honor of chatting with Andrew, better known as Nina West, about Hairspray. I'm so glad that I can be chatting with you today. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm in Chicago. I'm loving life. We've had an incredible start of shows this week, and the audiences have been amazing. So I'm incredible.
Good, good. I hope you're staying warm too. We got a lot of snow lately.
I love it. I love it. I'm like so ready for the weather.
Well, good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it so far. I want to start off with a few rapid fire questions to get to know you a little bit more. So first of all, what is your favorite dessert?
Ice cream. Any ice cream ever in the world. I love ice cream. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I know that you have some Jenny's ice cream right here in Chicago. So I'm ready to make a store visit. So if you're like,
Absolutely. What is the last show? Sorry. What is the last show you saw that wasn't Hairspray?
oh, I saw Carolina Change on Broadway. We were in New York rehearsing for Hairspray, and I took the opportunity to go sneak away to some shows. And the last show I saw was Carolina Change, which was
Mm,
so incredibly brilliant and beautiful and wonderful. So, yeah.
that's awesome. What is your current favorite song slash album you're listening to these days?
Oh my gosh. Someone asked me this in an interview last week, and I like stumbled. I'm listening to Encanto on repeat.
Absolutely.
Uh, we don't talk about who? Bruno. We're
No.
not talking about him. You're not. I love the Encanto soundtrack. I'm also like listening to a lot of jazz and just, especially in my living room as I'm getting ready. I just like make it a really cool, chill, welcoming environment so it feels just relaxing and ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. Are you watching any TV shows these days that you consider your favorites?
I just I binged season 2 of Ted Lasso, which I'm a Ted Lasso fan, so I binged that. I started watching. What was it? I don't have. I consume a lot of television. But Ted Lasso is the most recent thing that I binged. Oh, I also started Gilded Age, which I really am enjoying so far. Which is totally like all these Broadway people. So, hello, how could you not love it?
So good, so good. And then finally, what are you most excited for being in Chicago?
Oh my gosh, this is the longest time that I've ever spent in Chicago in one given moment. I've come to Chicago quite a bit to perform as Nina West to do shows in support of RuPaul's Drag Race and touring. So I've been at Roscoe's a lot in Boys Town, and I love the city, but I've never had an opportunity to actually like explore the city. So I'm here for another week and a half, and I'm getting the chance to see things that I've never gotten the chance to see. I'm going to the Institute of Art. I'm going to go see the Bean. I've never seen the Bean. Can you believe it? So I got to take the opportunity to really absorb the wonders of this city. This city is so incredible and such a theater city, and it's incredible to stand on the stage at the CIBC, which is a legendary house. This is the house where Kinky Boots got its out-of-town tryout at before it went to Broadway. This is the house, I think Spider-Woman with Cheetah was there. This is like a major historical house. Like Hamilton, it played there for a sit-down. And with Miguel, and like so to be able to be in that building and walk the stage and kind of share that space is really special to me.
Absolutely. Well, we are thrilled to have you here, and we hope that you come back soon after you're done with Hairspray.
Of course.
Alrighty, so we have a number of questions here that have come in from people on social media. So also for anyone watching, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll get to as many as possible. But first of all, let's start at the very beginning and talk about how you developed your love for theater. And was there anything specific that jump-started this career for you?
Yeah, I remember the first show I ever saw, the first professional production I ever saw was Cats in Cleveland, Ohio at Playhouse Square, which is another really incredible theater facility in this country. And I saw Cats when I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I was immediately bit by the bug. I was like, I have to do this. I didn't know it was an option to do. I didn't understand it at the time, but I really fell in love with this idea of being able to tell stories and kind of experience life through the lens of a performer. And so that's when it started. And I never really embraced it until I was in high school. And I had an incredible teacher named Kathleen Ringley who really supported me, and who I would go into her choir room after the day, and we would go to get ready for choir, and she and I would talk about Broadway musicals. And at the time, Rosie O'Donnell was on TV. The Rosie O'Donnell show was on TV, and we would talk about the Broadway shows that Rosie had on, and we would talk about our favorite musicals. And she would sing a song when I would walk in, and she'd quiz me on what musical is this from. And if I didn't know, then I'd go to the library and I'd check out the soundtrack recording. Like, she became like my theatrical literacy partner. She was teaching me and training me for this career that I had no idea of. And she drove me to my first audition, and that changed my whole life. And then I got my driver's license, and I got cast in a show, and I was able to drive myself to the two rehearsals. And I think that was the pivotal point where I knew this is something that I really wanted to do. Jack O'Brien, who's the director of Hairspray, the original Broadway director and the director of our show, was actually in Chicago, and was sharing wisdom with the cast. And he said, doing this is a calling. You have to believe that you're here because you're being called to do this work. This is difficult work, and you're putting yourself out in front of the world to be critiqued and judged, and to stick with this and through the grueling process of rehearsals and work and sacrifice that you're making. That is going to it proves it's calling for you. And so I really feel like I always knew that this was something speaking to me, and I really wanted to do this and be a part of this world. And I'm also really long-winded, and I apologize.
No, you're so good. No worries at all. And I think that's something that people tend to forget when they're seeing a show, is that there's so many hours that go into leading up to this production and the work that you put in. What type of prep did you do to prepare for the role of Edna Turnblad?
One of the big things I had to do in the rehearsal process was to get out of my own way. I was really overwhelmed with the fact that this role is so iconically identified with two specific people, Divine and Harvey Fierstein. There's iterations of this woman, Edna Turnblad. And I had to get out of my way and be like, well, I'm never going to be Harvey, right? And I'm never going to be Divine. I'm just going to be Andrew's version of Edna. And that was a process for me. And it still is on some points, because I want to honor their legacies. I want to honor the legacy of Divine. I want to honor the legacy that is Harvey Fierstein, who is like this gigantic role model of mine, who I find so iconic, so important, not only in the theater career, in the theater world, but also in my LGBTQ life, and what he's done for our queer community is so very important. And so I had to get out of my own way, right? And then I just had to go with the process and understand this was going to be something different than anything I'd ever experienced before. And this is why I wanted to do it. I really wanted to prove to the world, but mostly to myself, that I was capable of these things, and sharing in this experience and telling this story with 33 other incredible actors and a 9-piece band and an incredible crew and all of these local talent that helps us pull off the show every night, And I just was unaware of the challenges that would come with it. Doing a national tour may be the hardest thing I may ever do, but my God, I am learning so much, and there's no preparation for how this is. No preparation for what was going to happen. I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I get to do it. I mean, I've learned so much about myself by being Edna. I've learned so much about myself by sharing this experience with all of these people who come from who have different stories and different experiences, and that make my life so much richer, right? So, and I think it's also why the theatrical arts are so important. The performance arts are so important, especially right now, right, when we've all but shut off one another, and we've all stopped having communication and conversation with one another. Theatrical arts, seeing live performance and having a communal experience with people who are sitting in the same room as you, to breathe in the same air as these actors who are telling the story, and to breathe in the same air of other people who are hearing the story, allows you to have some kind of incredible, wonderful experience that is, I think, healing and provocative. It's thought-provoking, and it's and it's soothing all at the same time. And I don't think you get that from any other arts. You don't get it by sitting. I mean, you can be challenged by watching the television, but you are the immediate start of conversation at intermission. You know, well, what are you thinking? Oh my gosh, the lights are up. You're taking a breath, and you're kind of consuming this, and also taking a step back with the people that you're sitting with is, I mean, it's a remarkable feeling.
Absolutely. I feel like we can't not talk about Nina West.
Yeah, Drag Race, come on, bring it, Mom.
And so you have experience on stage, but also on TV with RuPaul's Drag Race. Is there any way that your TV experience with RuPaul's has shaped your art on stage?
Oh, 100%. My whole life changed the second I walked in the workroom. You know, everything, the whole trajectory of my career, everything that I've done since is really because of RuPaul and RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's not lost on me. I had auditioned 9 times for the show, and so many people laughed at me like, oh God, you spent a decade of your life auditioning for the show. And I'm like, yeah, and look at my life. I mean, look at these incredible things that have happened for me. And it's a lot of it's hard work and dedication to my craft and believing in myself, which is like really difficult and hard to do. And, you know, I mean, I'm a performer. I am sensitive, and I am, you know what I mean? But, you know, Drag Race changed me through and through. The whole reason, this is the truth, and I wrote this story on my Instagram when I was announced for Hairspray, is the big reason that I was seen and asked to participate in Hairspray is because I did Harvey for Snatch Game. I did Harvey Fierstein, and then I switched to Joanne Worley. And the whole reason, Jerry Mitchell saw me, and he said, oh my God. And then I was working in Indianapolis in August of 2019. I will never forget it. I was sitting in my hotel room, and I had a New York area code number call my phone, and I thought it was my agent, and it was Jerry Mitchell on the other line. It was Nina West, it's Broadway's Jerry Mitchell. And I was like, ah. And I have, being a Broadway fan, you know, being a lover of Legally Blonde and Hairspray and On Your Feet and Kinky Boots and so many others, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I mean, the man is so prolific, and he is Mr. Broadway in so many ways. And he was on my phone, and he said, "I'm just got to tell you, I saw you on Drag Race, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And I had a dream about you last night. You have to play Edna." And I started shaking, and he said, I've got to go, and I'll be in touch. And of course, I started crying. And then I didn't hear from Jerry. This was August. I didn't hear from Jerry until December. And I was like, he's never going to call. And then he called back, and he said, we'd like to meet with you and make sure and talk to you about this opportunity and gauge your interest and see if you're a right fit, and, you know, have you work with us through some scenes and some songs and see if you're the right fit. And the rest is history. And so, I mean, that's all from Drag Race, you know, like, and the power of that show and the power of drag, what I've learned about myself in drag is that my voice matters. I've learned that my community matters, and I have embraced those things, those pillars that I've carried with me throughout my career. I've learned that, and, you know, that I've seen the art form change over the years, you know, where it has been long before there was ever a YouTube tutorial on how to do your makeup. I remember learning how to do my makeup from other queens in the room, from my drag mother, Virginia, and from Jasmine Knight, who sat me down and painted half of my face, and I had to learn the other half of my face. Like, drag taught me so many things about self-preservation and diligence and care, and also frivolity, and learning how to embrace life and live life and be loud with who I was. And there's again, like theater, there's no other art form like drag. And the fact that I'm now at this point in my career where I get to marry both in a really unique way, where I'm not Nina West on stage, I am Edna Turnblad, and I'm Andrew portraying Edna Turnblad. But Nina is so deeply impacting so many of my choices and my decisions and influencing how I move my body and how I engage with the character and understand the feminine is powerful, you know. And I like, this is like, it's just such a really incredible marriage of my life, where I intended to do theater and I was pulled away from it, and I found drag, and drag saved me. And here I am now back at theater and finding myself saved again in a really unique and special way.
Absolutely. We are nearing the end of our time, but I do want to touch on your incredible work with the Nina West Foundation. And I would love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so the Nina West Foundation, first of all, a huge shout out to all of my friends in Columbus, Ohio, who are watching right now. I see a lot of people in the comments that I haven't seen in several months, and I just want to say thank you for being here. The Nina West Foundation is based in Columbus, Ohio, at the Columbus Foundation. It's a 501c3 tax-deductible charity organization, where we take your donations and we put your dollars to work with organizations that are serving LGBTQIA+ causes, specifically our youth and our elderly. We also amplify and uplift other organizations and causes that are very important, specifically to the time period and to the things that we're just like dealing with and discussing currently with in our world. Things like voting rights, access to voting, access to healthcare, access to, I mean, a lot of these big conversations that are taking place in our world today. So the Nina West Foundation really strives to fill gaps and also amplify and educate in the process. And it all stems from, it goes back to and I say Columbus, and I said hello to people here because it stems, like, I wouldn't have a career, just Drag Race amplified my career and gave me a platform. I learned who I was in Columbus, Ohio, with an incredible drag family, with Virginia West, who's my drag mother again, who embraced me and allowed me the space to find myself and introduced me to an incredible group of drag artists who all have become drag family to me over the years and have cared for me and challenged me and made me a better person. And in turn, the community in Columbus is really second to none as well. It's an incredible queer community. And, you know, these shows and these audiences would give money at the end of the shows, and we'd say, we're going to raise money for this candidate who's going to be running for office, who is LGBTQIA+ identifying, or we're going to raise money for our community center, or we're going to raise money for AIDS. And the audience would pull out checkbooks, hand over credit cards, throw money on the stage. And that's kind of where the iteration of the Nina West Foundation came from, was through all of this giving and this generous community, truly generous, outstanding, amazing individuals who all came together and formed community, right, in these shows. And so that's kind of how the foundation really took its roots and grew and has become what it is today. And it's still going very strong. And I'm really proud of the work that we do through the Columbus Foundation and everything that it can do and the impact it makes for people who are desperately in need of, I think, these services that these organizations like Trevor Project, like Fair Fight, like so many different organizations do for so many of us, are so important.
That is so important. And I thank you for sharing your time and talents with us and the world in so many different facets. To end our time, Hairspray.
Yes.
I think anyone who has seen it so far, just the absolute joy that comes out of this show. So fun. And you can really tell the incredible chemistry you have with the rest of the company, the talented company. Absolutely incredible. Why should people see Hairspray today?
I mean, people should see Hairspray because, you know, so Hairspray, in 2002, when the Broadway musical premiered in New York City, it came right after 9/11. And this was almost like Hairspray was like one of the first musicals that gave the audience permission, I think, to sing along, to laugh, and to come together again after 9/11. And I think we're finding ourselves in that same period of time right now, right? Here we are 19 months after after a major global pandemic, in the midst of still of a global pandemic, and still struggling with things that we're dealing with through COVID. We're also are going through a cultural revolution. We're also talking about the importance of all of us. We're talking about the importance of our BIPOC communities, of our and what that means. And this show helps, I think, bring people together to have a communal experience, like I said, sitting in an audience, allowing yourself after really difficult periods of time to feel some joy, allow yourself to be challenged, allow yourself to think about things that may be difficult for you to talk about with your parents, or may be difficult for you to talk about with a sibling or the person that you're attending the theater with, and just spark and stir conversation that goes into some wonderful, wonderful feelings. And you end the night on your feet, dancing and singing with us. And I think Hairspray is a show that's not to be missed. I think we're really lucky to be able to bring this back in its 20th anniversary, and to celebrate the show, and to also celebrate this incredible cast and company who are doing this work. These people have worked so tirelessly, and so many of the people in this company, it's their first national tour, and it's their first experience, and we get to be here in Chicago and have this amazing, wonderful love of this community that you shower upon these shows. And I think we all feel pretty lucky that we get to sit here in this city and do these shows these next couple of weeks and celebrate with you. This is the home of the Goodman Theater. This is the home of the of theater arts, the second city. This is it. It's Chicago, second maybe to only New York. And your audiences have been so good to us, and we're only 3 days in. And I can't wait for the weekend, and I can't wait for the week. And so thank you for welcoming us and allowing us to share the story that I think people should give themselves over to. Give yourself some joy. Give yourself the ability to experience joy, and also be challenged to understand how we can all do better.
Oh, I can't think of a better way to wrap this up. Give yourself some joy and be challenged. See Hairspray. Seriously, this is not a show you will want to miss. It's so fun at the CIBC Theater until February 13th. Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your time and talents with us. We're so grateful. Have a wonderful rest of your time in Chicago, and we hope that you come back soon.
Are you kidding? Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for allowing us again to experience the wonder of your city, and thank you for taking such good care of us here. We are so in love, and we're just so grateful. So thank you, Chicago, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great weekend.
Bye.